Lord, I just pray right now that this will be heard clearly to all of those of the Black Hebrew Israelite cult, to those that are of the Messianic community that are of African descendancy. Lord, just asking that they will be able to speak to them as well, and we'll know the truth. I'm pleading with the Black Hebrew Israelites, those of you that are under the cult. I understand that there is a huge difference between those who have genetic DNA proof that they are of Jewish, Israelite, Hebrew descent as compared to those who follow the cult. Abba Bivens, all these other individuals that came here in the country, the one that calls himself Elder Nathaniel, former officer, FBI agent, whatever he was, that's been this push. The IUIC, Great Millstone, Gathering to Christ Church, all of these groups out there, and then these ones that leave those groups and they try to become their own groups and they're still stuck. I'm pleading with y'all. These false leaders, this false teaching is leading you to hell. They have always known it. Bivens himself did a video, and I'm going to try to see if I can find it and post it. Bivens himself said that the chart of the 12 tribes, they've always known it's been a lie. They've always known it. They just knew that's how you had to pull the people in. He says it verbatim. But that's one thing that we can bring up later. I'm pleading with y'all because I can show you scripturally from scripture. And I know there's many that right now you're going to go to usually the 5. The letter J issue. The issue of what type of Bible you use. The issue of looking at the spreading of the Israelites and how certain groups were found in certain tribes, certain locations, and there was a mixing and so forth. Then you'll have the things that are going on within this country itself and how it's similar and it parallels what the Bible's saying. It's usually those 5 that they want guns for, and they say you can't disprove it, and it can. The fallacy of saying that because of the slavery that happened with us as Africans and those that happened with Israel, it doesn't make us, it just doesn't. You cannot say that America's Egypt and turn around and say this is symbolic and allegorical. No, these are actual places. I'm pleading with y'all to listen to the real gospel because it's stuff that these liars are feeding you are killing y'all. And it's going to continue to kill you spiritually. And there are many that are facing the true God right now as they have passed on from life to death. And they are in shock and they are horrified that they've been lied to. It has always been an identity issue. It's always been an identity issue. I put this before you as one of the things that I would tell you to ponder it. Don't jump from scripture. Don't jump all over the place. I am begging you, as a child of God, as a minister of the gospel, I'm begging you, go to these scriptures and ask yourself, how is it that, in fact, let me read it, and I'm going to put the question to you. You got to ask yourself, I'm telling you, as the scripture says, that the God of this age has blinded many lest they see the light. Here's your chance. Listen to the words. If you're going to actually do research, look at both sides. I did. I've heard Hebrew Israelites speak before. I've looked at both sides, how someone may believe what's being said and how someone may not believe, and how scripturally it's flatlined. The belief of the Hebrew Israelites is flatlined. Are there people out there, from Ethiopians to many that are in areas of Ghana and everywhere else, that are in Israel now that appear to be, they have more melanin than me and others? Yes, they're out there. But you can genetically prove them that that's who they are. It is an identity issue. People that want to grab hold to the identity and have the blessings of God because of the melanin of their skin, but don't realize that you are in sin and hell is going to be your home unless you change. Unless you listen to what the Bible is really saying. These people are killing y'all, and it is breaking my heart repeatedly over and over again how I hear people keep talking about this stuff, and all that is like the Pied Pipers are playing tunes and you can't break from it. I'm going to leave you with several questions, but I'm going to deal with one today. And I'm listening. I'm listening. If I'm wrong about the scripture or the approach or the belief of the Hebrew Israelites. And some of you will say, well, I don't believe what they believe, but I believe this. Let's reason together. If it's going to save your life from hell, if it's going to save you, really, hell is not even the issue. The ultimate issue, you want to know what real hell is? Being separated from God and Jesus. When you really think about the fact of the omnipotent, omnipresent, all-powerful, all-knowing, all-seeing, timeless, matchless, spaceless God, and you're separated from him, that's real hell. That's a real nightmare. But I'm pleading with y'all. Listen to the scriptures that y'all depend on. It says prophecy. Deuteronomy 28, starting at the 64th verse. And the Lord will scatter you among all people from one end of the earth to the other. And there you shall serve other gods of wood and stone, which neither you nor your fathers have known. And among these nations you shall find no respite, and there shall be no resting place for the sole of your feet. But the Lord will give you there a trembling heart and failing eyes and a languishing soul. Your life shall hang in doubt before you. Night and day you shall be in dread and have no assurance of your life. In the morning you shall say, if it were only the evening, and at evening you shall say, it were only the morning, because of the dread that your heart shall feel, and the sights that your eyes shall see. And the Lord will bring you back in ships to Egypt, a journey that I promised you should never make again. There you shall offer yourselves for sale to your enemies as a male and female slaves, but there will be no buyers. This is the question I have for y'all. If you're saying that's prophecy, then it needs to be able to identify how long. It needs to be able to identify the exact location. It needs to, every prophecy that God has given has been exact and to the point. But the question I'm asking your leaders, and I'm looking y'all dead in the eye. If I could look at any of y'all personally, I would look you dead in the eye and I would ask you this question. How is it that these scriptures are prophecy, but every other curse that's identified in Deuteronomy 28 is not? The curse that talks about you will have a wife, but another man will lay with her. The curse that talk about you'll eat your own children. You'll eat of the flesh of your own descendants. The curse that talks about that you'll be. Here's one here. The Lord will bring you and your king, whom you set over you, to a nation that neither you nor your fathers have known, and you shall serve other gods of wood and stone. Listen, it says you shall serve gods of wood and stone. So if you're saying that that's prophecy, what about all the other curses? Why are they not prophecy? Let's use critical thinking. If God is going to be specific about what's happening to a group of people, then he's going to put it down specifically what's going on with them. These are the conditions of being disobedient to God. They're not curses. But you got these liars out here and these cult leaders that are leading y'all because they know that once someone proves them wrong, their power positions end. Just like these false preachers out here that call themselves Christians and call themselves ministers, they're in the same boat and they're going to the same hell. And everybody's going to be looking at each other like, why y'all died here? It's because God is serious about who he is and about his people. And I'm pleading with y'all. I'm begging y'all. Stop just grabbing stuff. The whole letter J conspiracy. Hey, letter J didn't come out till 400, 500 years. How long about the letter A, the letter J, the letter H? What about all the other letters? Because then you got to turn around and realize that it's more about the sound of the letter and what it sounds like instead of the spelling. That's the issue you run into. The issue about you saying that we were giving Christianity as slavery. Let's talk about, tell me about St. Augustine or Hippo. Tell me about Oregon. Tell me about Tertullian. Tell me about all these Africans. And I know that black Hebrew Israelites hate Africans, but these Africans who took the gospel to Europe before it even before the Catholicism was even thought of. I advise you to read this book. Let me get this book real quick. If y'all want to talk about history and you keep talking about Christianity, I advise you to grab this book right here, How Africans Shaped the Christian Mind, and and when you finish reading the book, go all the way to the back, and you read about the chronology when it comes down to Africans and Christianity and how it breaks it down over a century of African involvement before it even enters into Europe and Europe begins to push Catholicism. I'm begging y'all, and I'm calling out these leaders. You need to stop lying to these folks and stop killing them in the process. I'm out.